whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos, go, never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And part of that collaboration last year, one of the results, I reached out to over 100,000 fathers directly and indirectly around the globe. I was going to say around the world, but I should have said around the world in 80 days. No, but I would say that that's a principal thing there, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, we are here. We are broadcasting live on October 9th. Now, I know people are saying, how come you're on a Sunday night? We usually aren't, but Aisha, there's just things that were going on. Let's put it that way. Just things are going on. Now, Aisha will not be with us tonight because she's at a wedding, but she is still here. So you'll find out that she's still here momentarily. But we've got Jill and Lala here.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, young ladies?
Well, what's going on? It seems like it's something new every day, right?
Every day.
It as an adventure, at least. So,
how is the week? How's the week been? Hold on a second. Check out these glasses, Jill Jones. What color are those glasses? You think I don't catch that? You think I don't catch?
Yes, and I don't like blue glasses.
Yes, so legal, Ms.
They're
Jones.
just readers, but I love them because they, and I got a few different pair, like a bunch of different ones with different colors. So I got them at the 99-cent store for $1.50. And because I was losing all my Foster Grant ones, now the lens may be a little wonky, but whatever. It's just great. Like, I love them. I was like, let me just get a bunch of them. And I did. And they help me when I'm reading.
So how many different colors do you have?
God, I think I have like 5 different colors, like yellow, pink, red, whatever. Yeah.
You know what? We should push the company that
Green.
makes it for a sponsorship.
I know, right?
Jill's sporting your glasses. Come and sponsor us. Come on now.
I need a pair of good readers. It's been, and then the Foster Grant ones are going to they're like $30 or $40, and I'm like, oh, wow, I lose things too quickly to I don't know if I want to make the investment at this time in this economy, I don't know.
Wow. But, and it's interesting. I've never had to wear glasses, but it's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a gold mine. And as long as we keep using these little things, we'll have more problems. Yeah. Our eyesight so bad. I mean, my font was up so big, I was like, it was a risk to walk around with it. And then everybody could see every damn thing that was going on. People were starting to chime in like, no, I don't think you should go at all. Don't do it.
Gosh, Lala, how are things in Florida?
Oh, they're calming down. It's interesting driving around, doing, just kind of doing the regular errands. The grocery stores are absolutely shelves are empty. I went in to get some eggs. I might as well have some chickens Because
Yeah, you should get
there's,
some.
and I grew up with that stuff. When I was a kid, I
Yeah.
used to think, I can't wait to go to the city. Now I want to come back. It's like we had an acre worth of garden, but yeah, it's and there's still a lot of winds that damage the fences around and things like that. So you do see the remnants, but you really see it in the groceries.
Wow.
Now we're not even in the eye. I mean, we're on the other side. Now, Orlando is very interesting right now. That's only an hour ahead of us. They're finding like alligators going in people's houses and cars caught in fences from the floodwaters. And it's like, this is what a Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I mean, it is Alligator Alley. I mean, that is Florida.
That was not in a zoo. Was not in what they call
where was it? Where was it?
Okay, so I jog every day, right? And there's all sorts of little man-made lakes around here.
Yeah.
So we used to laugh. My husband and I used to laugh, and I'd be like, "I'm scared of the alligators. Ain't no alligators in these waters." One day we rode by, and there was a juvenile alligator sunning himself by where I used to run, and it was just walking around.
Yeah, I was on a golf course once down in Florida, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like, what the hell? Yeah, I was playing golf, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm on the 14th hole."
Freaking out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the little man, there was a man jogging, and I was like, "Hey, wait! Don't go over there." And he goes, "Why?" I said, "It's an alligator." He said, "Oh, they don't bother you if you don't bother them."
Yeah, right. Yeah. They're hungry right now, and they run really fast. That's why they say, run zigzag. I'm like, really? Do I really
30 miles per hour? They can get
they're very quick.
Yeah.
They're deceivingly quick.
Well, remember somebody's baby got eaten down there a few years ago.
Yeah.
There was, Florida, that is not the appealing thing to it. And then the sharks were always really, really intense in the Atlantic for me, but, in California now, we have so many sharks very close. I think a friend of mine was telling me he ran into a boyfriend who had kind of dogged him, like wasn't really like a date, like he'd been dating him, and this guy wasn't really nice to him. And he ran into him like maybe a year later, and the guy had lost his leg in a shark attack afterwards. Oh. And then the guy wanted to date him again, and my friend was kind of like, I feel bad for you, but not enough just because you were attacked by a shark. Yeah, here in California.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh. Okay, well, let's get out of get rid of these stories.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know if what we're going to chat about is going to be, well, maybe it's different. I don't think it's more enlightening, but it'll be
uplifting.
Well, that's debatable. So the stuff we get on here, but let's so again, for people who don't see her, Aisha K. Staggers is not with us tonight. She is at a wedding, so she cannot make it with us tonight. So we're going to start. Our first conversation piece is the January 6th committee final hearing. Now, I told people at the beginning, Aisha's not here, but she is here. So this is how she is still here. She sent me notes on her comments on each one of our topics today. So this is what she has to say about our first conversation topic. She goes, January 6th committee, there needs to be a 4-hour-long hearing. They need to present new information they had but didn't release in the other 8 hearings. The more explosive, the better. And they need to recap and remind people not just about what 45 did, but what those members of Congress did, how they reached out just hours after the incident, and how they voted not to certify the election even after nearly being killed, and how they talk about January 6th now. Remember how Lindsey Graham was, quote, done, unquote, later that night. Yes. And now today, he doesn't think anything bad went down at all and is an election denier. So that is what Aisha has to say about this conversation topic. Who's going to start off? Who's going to join Aisha after that?
I got to agree with her. I mean, every last bit of it. We all see it. My question is, what good did it do? Because honestly, there's so much division that either you believe what they are showing you proof of, or you don't. But we know that the Trump Kool-Aid is strong, and we know that they no matter what you tell them or show them, he is their God, and he is not going anywhere. And this flipping and flopping is just perfect proof of them keeping us in a tizzy down here, because the elite like to play that game a lot. And you can't convince me that all of them are not on the bed at some point together when it comes down to it. It's a them versus us. But I don't really see anything positive coming out of this other than we already know the truth. And is it going to make a change in what's going to happen? I have to say, I don't feel good about it coming to a positive end.
Jill?
Well, I think they really dragged it out, and I mean, it's great that they're going back to do this on, I think I have it the 13th, this Thursday, that they're doing it, but I'm really angry at them for taking so much time. I think that in this day and age and in this climate and this economy that we're in, where, heck, I mean, Dr. Vibe, you and I were talking earlier today about how quickly the news cycle changes. I think that when they do this and they're not, expeditiously, going for it and finding the time and dealing with this, it's just wrong. And it does us no good. And it almost seems, they ruin their efforts. They ruin it, because first of all, it's at 1 p.m. So that means, like, what is everybody doing in the middle of the day? What happened to getting prime time to do it so that people can be home watching and catching up again? And if they are doing it, then they need to be revisiting things so that people get refreshed about what happened. They killed Capitol Police. Is that not enough for American people to be upset about? They murdered people. End of story. On the strength of that alone, I shouldn't have to jizz all over the fucking story to get you to tune in, America. What lamos are you that this is what's happening? They killed officers and maimed them. And you can be the denier all you want about what went on, but you can see how wicked the hearts were of the people that were there. I mean, even with the one Capitol policeman who was crushed in the doors, and how that person was just fooling with his mask and everything. I was just so thankful to God, or whoever, Devi or whatever I'm praying to these days, didn't come off, because God only knows what they would have done to his face. And to be so vulnerable. We have wicked people in our country. And Republicans, y'all can stop trying to flip everything on everybody, because we said it first about your asses. Y'all bad people. Bad. It's just bad.
If they're doing it at 1 o'clock,
unredeemable and unforgivable. This is something that needed to be pushed through, and frankly, we should be done with it, to the point where some of these people should be thrown under the jail. And when I see less than the time that should be served, and then Trump's still able to walk around and his ass isn't in jail, I mean, it's so frustrating for me and for many people here, because we just don't want to think that Merrick Garland is just, okay, he's on the case. But I remember we thought that about Mueller as well, and got fucked in the ass over it. So I'm not even going to be like, he's really working, guys. Slow down now. He's really, he's really putting all the pieces together. This bitch has had this job. These people are my age and they are professionals. This shouldn't be that it's going to take you this long. If somebody's going to try to run you down in a race and run you to death, stall, which is what, find a new way to get to them, make up a law, do something, but we're in the real crapper. And so here it is. And they better be coming with something on Thursday, guys. They better really be saying something, or they will lose everybody's interest.
Well, I mean, I'm already bored. I mean, I hate to say it, you just regurgitating stuff that we already know. It's all based in this magic land.
Exactly. We don't need to know. You're absolutely right.
So it's okay.
It's just go arrest their asses.
Thank you.
And let it come out in the court case, because all you're doing is allowing these people to figure out who they're going to get defense for. And let's be honest. this whole lawyers in America stuff, it's pretty gross. What a horrible, nasty, gross profession.
Yeah.
If there's not one honest lawyer in the whole bunch that are in America, not one. And as a matter of fact, their main job is to distort our laws. And there's something wrong with these universities. And I am saying Harvard, Yale, there's something wrong with what you fuckers are teaching, because all you've done is undermined our country. We're going to haggle. The Supreme Court is about to haggle over some goddamn law from Alabama about voters' rights because lawyers could haggle over a crumb on a cake, you know, and that's how pathetic and disgusting attorneys are. And they're right up there with serial killers, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I gotta agree with that one.
Yeah. Totally. You can't even complain in this country without having to be forced to get one. I mean, they're really like embedded in all of our in the fringes of society, and they're warped. They're all pretty fucked up. So if you have a little kid who wants to be a lawyer,
I had to deal with recently in the real estate world with eviction cases and things of that nature. And they make it absolutely impossible for you to get anything done and afford. Now, 3 phone calls, 2 emails, and a letter. $12,000, please.
Because they milk you dry. And it's the American lawyer is.
So I don't trust anything of the judicial. I don't have any faith in the Supreme Court. I don't have any faith in this January 6th committee. And I feel like we've wasted time and we're right back at the very beginning.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to this. So come to this now. Lala, you say you don't have any faith in all this. Isn't that what 45 wants? And isn't that how 45 gets his wins?
He always has, but I've never ever said he was nothing but a con man from the very beginning.
But he's pretty genius. He's pretty smart. He's genius. He cracked the system.
He's a great manipulator.
The worst part of it is that everybody doesn't want to sit down and go, yo, he really did expose how fucked up we are. Me, you, and the boy named Boo. Because the reality is he really did. It's like, but how many lawyers are going to sit there and go, yeah, we're all pretty fucked up human beings, don't you think? Or how many bankruptcy judges are going to say, I didn't know what the fuck was going on in that whole trial, but, you know, they called me and they, you know, whatever, I had to go somewhere. That's what's happened here. He really, when you got to look at Donald Trump, and I can't stand him, but I will not turn away and say, yo, he's a G, because he totally turned this country on its ear.
Well,
and it will be a legend.
Not this country, though. Not just this country.
Yeah, everywhere. He's a G.
From the everybody, other countries, all the other countries took his cue, took that hook, put that word on it, and they're doing the exact same thing.
Totally.
All right, so I want to come back now. And I've always had this concern, or always had this thought throughout this whole hearing. And we've got midterms coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Has the intent of the Democrats with this committee hearing, was it a waste? Is it going to have any impact on the midterms?
Not really. No. Because we've been living without indictments for so long that we will live without closure on that. And they're just like prodding us with their side to look, we're very capable. But bitch, y'all waited too long. Sorry. It's like you waited too fucking long, and I don't really have the fucking time in the middle of the day to sit and pay attention to this shit. I got shit to do. I got to try to make extra money because I can't afford a fucking roll of cabbage.
You know, you get the emails for the money. That's all you get from. You don't get any other emails giving us updates. What's the plan? What are you doing? Grow some balls? No, nothing. Just hey, can you give us $5?
I mean, my guy Newsom has been doing some crazy cool stuff, though.
I know
he's been prodding back, and I like that because there's some connection that he knows. Yeah. We are busy. We are out here trying to get that paper and try to pay our bills and trying to do whatever. Now, the problem is he's going to push back, and it's really important to build that reputation. But the rest of them and this whole like Come on, guys in the hearing, what planet are you on? Why do you think your constituents have the time to sit up here at 1 p.m. in the afternoon? Fuck off.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No, for real. It's like so insulting. It's like, are you fucking, you couldn't get the networks? Are we frozen out of that too? Because all we are getting is cock block from oil, cock block. And this is the best we get. We got to deal with that bitch in Saudi Arabia. And everybody is like, oh my God, OPEC. I mean, fuck OPEC. Then let's try to get off of OPEC. I'd rather not have any fucking heat than to have to suffer through that fucking bitch. Because didn't we learn anything when he chopped up poor Khashoggi? I mean, are we really going to this is what happens when you lay down with dogs. You wake up with fleas. And we should have dropped those motherfuckers after 9/11, as far as I'm concerned. I would have been fine, never knowing anything, because all they're doing is aligning with Russia and backstabbing us, because they're just backstabbing bitches. But let's never forget that when we had Desert Storm, those bitches put their hands up like in the middle of like the war, like the first 5 minutes. Fuck off.
So then would you say then, both of you, that this January 6th committee missed a huge opportunity?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly, yes.
I mean, they took a break for what? To make donuts? I mean, where have they been? Oh, right.
I didn't think we were going to have another one. That's how long it was.
They took another vacation, you know? It's like Nancy Pelosi had to go deal with her drunk, driving, Porsche driving old husband who really shouldn't even be near a speeding car, a fast car anymore. I mean, really? Can't you all afford drivers? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all of them. You know, really. And then we had a whole breakout today of some stupid little like Hispanic Democrats who got caught talking on tape about a white guy who adopted a black child. And they were talking mad shit. And everybody, they think an apology is okay. These bitches need to go, because Gil Cedillo out here, by the way, councilman, is really the reason that LA does not have a court for people who get evicted. There's no landlord tenant courts for people here. That they can thank little old Gil and his little Hispanic posse, because they fucked everybody in the ass, literally, and they are responsible. They're owned by the developers. And, you know, the worst thing we could do is to vote in a developer as our mayor. And I'm so outraged about this, because they are the reason we have a Skid Row.
Oh, yes.
These people have prevented everybody from having housing.
Yes.
And they have the audacity to talk about a 2-year-old black child and call him a monkey.
Yes.
Okay, let me roll back things in. So as we move on to
Nuri Rodriguez was her name. Bitch, please. She needs to be fired.
So going back to what we were chatting about in regards to final statement. So if you had a message to give to this committee, what would you tell them?
You failed. You failed. You had the opportunity in your hand and you failed, just like you have failed the American people over and over again. You cannot fight the way GOP does, because what they do is they get together and they get it together in a ball and then they throw it at you like them old video games. Yeah. And you just sitting there looking stupid. You have the opportunity to serve the people and serve us right, but you're not doing it. You're wasting.
Democrats can fight. Let's not forget.
They fight like they need to fight.
They can. No, because they have a stick up their ass trying to prove we're better than you are. No, you're not. You bitches, like I'm mentioning the Democrats, you're not perfect either. You do shitty things and you're corrupt as well. Exactly. Let's all cut to the quick. Y'all all are getting inside scoops on your stock, all of it. You're all guilty of it. But the reality is, don't fight like a punk. For
that's
my
what you're
taste.
doing, and I just lost.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I dropped the party. I am independent, and
Eric Swalwell on that committee. Eric Swalwell has a lot of fight in him, and they should have let him in there to go for people, because he knows how to go for the jugular.
Right.
We don't need we're going to try to be really decent. This isn't decent time. This is like, you throw something on me, I'm going to throw something heavier on you. That's just the way it goes. You know, because even in the middle of we'll be talking about something later, but they'll pull in other things to counteract. But as far as I'm concerned, they haven't gone off enough on people standing there, and they don't even do it online. We'll respect you more if somebody really destroys and dismantles Jim Jordan. If you go for it publicly and tell him, bitch, sit the fuck down or get the fuck out of my chair, just do it. Because that's what we are now that Trump has been in line. Yeah. We are never going to go back to mamsy-pamsy, like, excuse me, would you like a biscuit? You know, tea time. No, those days are over. You got to fight like you mean it.
Well, I mean, look at just the simple fact of tweeting, okay? You know that Trump was always tweeting 24/7. Man never slept, okay? The minute Biden gets in, he hardly does. Now people see him, of course, based on the tweets. Oh, he's not doing anything at all. Just because he doesn't tweet that he wakes up in the morning and goes to the bathroom. You know, I mean, the whole world has shifted, and the Democrats need to shift with it.
Well, they have to realize that the constituency in America, there are more stupid people than intelligent, and they don't read, and they don't know what the fuck is going on. And to be honest with you, they think they do. Just, you know, honestly, I cannot believe how many stupid people live here. But when you are trying to sell to a crowd, you don't show up with, you know, the best, you don't bring the best ingredients for people who are used to eating dog meat. Okay? Give them the dog meat. That's the way I feel. And Trump knows that.
So we are done with topic 1, and their Black Beauty is going, wow, the ladies are fired up tonight. Preach, Lala and Jill, preach. I can barely keep up with y'all.
I'm tired.
I'm tired. Tired. No. Are you tired or are you tired?
Tired.
Tired. All right.
Tired.
Tired. You're tired. All right, family. As we always, like we do on a regular, state of things with Aisha and Jill, with Jill and Lala. Aisha is not with us tonight, but you know the intensity hasn't gone down any. So let's keep on going with our next conversation piece. We've not talked a lot about this gentleman. Federal prosecutors are weighing charges on 2 fronts in the Hunter Biden investigation. And for the lady that is not with us tonight, she has a little comment, Aisha, on this. So let's bring it up on the screen. This is what she has to say. Hunter Biden. Honestly, this seems a way for Mayor Garland to combat the pressure from the right, calling him and the DOJ, Department of Justice, unfair and left-leaning. Hunter doesn't work for the president. That's just his father. 45's kids were making illegal deals while working in the White House and on his re-election campaign. Hunter will pay for his stuff, trust and believe, but 45 children will not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Garland is a punk, because the reality is he just used Hunter Biden like Hamas uses children as a shield. Hey, I'm here. I'm giving you Hunter Biden. The crazy thing is, they never gave a shit about Hunter Biden either. They just knew that they thought we did. They just dangled him. They don't care. Yep. They don't care. They're hoping Hunter Biden goes no D somewhere. They don't give a shit. This is what's so crazy, that they're going to serve him up. Like, really? You are going to have us deal with yet again some other bullshit about his taxes or whatever he did. Meanwhile, MBS gave Jared Kushner $2 billion.
Yeah.
And you all can't tell me what the fuck that was about? Go fuck yourselves. I don't give a shit about Hunter Biden. There is nothing that he's done that comes close to anything those Trump kids did.
Scratch the surface.
I'm telling you, no. Fuck no.
We're right back to the same.
And if the DOJ does that, then they're a bunch of fucking pussies. Sorry. Oh, yeah, they are anyway, because they can't seem to get out of this little wrangle that, oh, my God, there's 48 folders missing. Why? Dum-dum heads. Let me tell you something. That means the bitch sold the stuff. There's no documents because he sold them, you asswipes. You really want to, like, do they have no self-respect? It's like, holy shit, they're going to actually let this play out this way? They look like fucking fools.
Well, it
They
makes
really do.
fools, and it makes us look weak to the other countries. Why else do you think you're seeing all these missiles flying right now out of North Korea and all these other places? They're testing us because they see that we're weak, and we're weak because of Trump.
No, they know what we have. Actually, they know more than the American people know about our arsenal.
Yeah.
When North Korea flew their thing over Japan, I was like, what the fuck do they know that we don't know? Because it's a real pissing match at the moment. Weighing charges on what? A dude who likes cocaine? Really? Should we really go into have they really looked at Don Jr.?
Thank you, Don Jr.
He's on, for real. Like if our own federal feds can't tell somebody who's on drugs, we got a problem.
He comes on benders every single day.
Man,
y'all worried about Hunter Biden.
They need to find out who his dealer is.
And
He even wrote a book. You
can't write.
I know.
Well, Trump didn't either. They get the ghostwriters.
So
that's true.
So what is the relevancy of is Hunter Biden just a scapegoat?
Yes. Yeah.
Plain and simple. Yes. Smoke and mirrors. It's always smoke and mirrors. We're going to give you this, but we're going to give you this. Look at the candy. Mm-hmm. That's all they do. And nothing gets done. I'm sorry. I don't care about Hunter Biden. The man at least admits that he's he's an addict and that he's getting help. Okay. If he bought a firearm and he wasn't supposed to, okay, be punished about that. Because, most Black men don't even get that opportunity. They still want to whitewash what he does too, because let's face it, if he was a Black man, this will be over a long time ago. So I could care less. And
then we have that other knucklehead who goes into places in Africa and kills animals that are sanctioned to not be killed. So what do? Maybe y'all should export them back to Rwanda or places where the Trump boys have gone, and they would like to have had them to prosecute them for the animals that they killed. But no, but I will say that they need to pay attention to us, the people who are voting, because we're about damn tired of all of them.
Yeah.
So should Hunter Biden be prosecuted?
I don't know what he did that's so bad.
Well,
and if he is, then so should Ivanka. Vanky needs to go. So does Jared. They just need to. I mean, you kidding, right?
Right.
There's definitely crimes in there. What? Espionage. She had all those trademarks. What the hell was really going on? All of these conflicts of interest. We know that if they just had a chat with Letitia James, who said and told us there were crimes, they could be focusing on that. But no, our Department of Justice are such pussies that they're going to dangle Hunter Biden in front of us.
Exactly.
These guys are not streetwise, and it really are. They're all Ivy League little shits, all of them, even the old ones. They all went to university. They're all in, and they all work at the same places. That's what happens in this shit. Yale, Harvard, man, bloop-de-bloop, and they all amount to bullshit. The one thing you will have to say about Donald Trump, he was a streetwise dude. For somebody who had that background, he really tapped into, he could actually survive on his own, even if he didn't have a dime. I truly believe that.
Oh, yeah.
He would make it. But the rest of them, no, they're little Ponzi white boys. And they all work in the Department of Justice, or they work somewhere. And that was why Trump knew how to play each and every single one of them. And he still does. He is going to be bankrupting for the next couple of years. He will never see a day of jail. He will die just die of natural causes, not even from stress, because this man has lived in high stress his whole life. He functions really well in stress. This ain't no thing for him but a chicken wing.
Well, I don't even think he's really going to run for 2024. I think he's stringing the people for as long as he needs to. But do I see him running again? In my opinion, and it may not be popular, I actually see him running after 2024. I don't see him going the next. I think he would threaten it this whole time so that he can get more money. And then as the money starts dwindling, he's going to rile people up again so that he can go for the following term. He's never going to see jail.
He likes being a disruptor.
So let me ask, will Hunter Biden be part of the midterm campaign?
They're trying
to make it.
It's just not strong enough. It's not strong enough. To me, I hate to say it, the things that they're accusing him of are pretty much everyday things that people face out here in the streets. It's nothing, the gun thing. I'm not against guns, but I'm for assault rifles and crap like that. Now, if he was not supposed to have that gun, I'm sorry, then okay, you're going to have to do your time or pay your money or your service for that. But I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move it on from one interesting individual to another very interesting individual. Herschel Walker's Georgia Senate campaign. Now, you know something? You know this is newsworthy when my dad is asking my opinion on the Herschel Walker thing. So let me read what Aisha has to say about this. And it's a 2-pager, folks. So bear with me. So it's good. Let's give it a read. Yes. So here she goes. She says, Georgians must remember one thing before going to the polls. On the national front, the Senate race in Georgia is getting the most attention because of the impact that race between Warnock and Walker has the ability to affect the rest of the state how it affects the rest of us if the Senate changes control. However, the gubernatorial race is going to have far immediate impact on the lives of Georgians if Brian Kemp defeats Stacey Abrams again. And the costs are even bigger in 2022 than they were in 2018. Also, to be clear, Republicans chose Walker because he is black and popular in Georgia, as is Warnock, pastor of MLK's Ebenezer Baptist Church. Okay. Walker, she said, Walker is actually more popular among white Georgians than black. But this goes to the belief that they haven't seemed to gotten over since Reconstruction. They believe we aren't smart enough to look at the candidate's record and only vote because of color. Why? Because it is what they do.
But we do it too. And we will probably do it there. Sad to say. And Kemp will probably beat Stacey.
And I hate
because I hate to say it. I don't think that there's a chance in hell. I think that I actually felt very bad for Herschel Walker's son. And you guys know we've talked about that kid, Christian, who was such a Trump supporter. But when he came out against his father, as no child should have to go or be online screaming to their deaf parents who don't give them the respect. It's clear that the father doesn't give respect to the son or his mother. And when fathers don't do that, they create a lot of trauma and they create a lot of pain, and you could see it. And that was not for me alone. I would hope that the community would just see that and be like, whoa, this is not a good person, just on that. And that's what he was trying to convey to us.
Yeah.
This kid, and not even so much for us as just the amount of hurt that this kid deals with, and that having a father figure is, like he said, family means a lot to him, is something he didn't really truly have. And, I felt that. And so for me to see the Black community turn and then start going after this kid, he's a kid at the end of the day, and attacking him was very cruel. And Herschel Walker wasn't even man enough to stand up and say, leave my son alone.
Yeah.
He's allowed to say what he wants. He said nothing. And for me, he wouldn't even stand and defend or protect his own child from an argument that's a family argument. And maybe it shouldn't be in public, but he let the GOP just take him down a course and do all their damage control. So for me, what a weak man. What a disgusting piece of shit he is, because that's your fucking child. And for me, aside from their drama, that was wrong. He should have dealt with that and taken that hit and said for people to lay off of his son and not see all those people going after his son on social media. I thought it was disgusting, and I would have nothing. I'd spit on him if I saw him. I think he's a scum. That was wrong.
Well,
that
they definitely are using him as a pawn. They know this, but this is why they're throwing all their money behind him. The dumber that they get, the better to them. They can control him. They can promise whatever they want to him and then use him as the puppet that he is.
But what a selfish narcissist. He doesn't care.
Right.
You know, it's like he didn't care when he had the woman go and have the abortion and asked her to do it again. You know, this is a person who has, you know, he's gotten everything he wanted in life. But interestingly enough, you know, I don't know what the last laugh on his life is. Clearly, he has some mental issues and some CT issues that are happening. But it is really, really bad. For me, what he did to his son publicly and leaving that kid hanging like that was unforgivable.
But isn't that what the GOP does?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the classic example of the black man fitting right into their agenda, because this is what they also do to themselves, to their own families. They institute their laws with us. We are not supposed to have abortions. They want a national ban, right. But still yet you can bet if something doesn't fit into their lifestyle, they got that special doctor that they're going to call. You know, everything that they speak against outside in the public is all the Wizard of Oz. You know, don't mind the man behind the curtain, because they say one thing, but they're doing the exact opposite, right?
Yeah, but look at the shows that the Black community has to suffer through. Power, that show. Yeah. Yeah. You have to, we Black people in our communities are always presented nowadays, since, you know, the Cosby situation failed miserably, but we're not allowed to have, you know, a fuck up in an area, because then we can never redeem ourselves. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that Power, or those shows, we always have to have a flawed character.
Yep.
To therefore justify what bad things they did, but they're powerful, so they're great. And it's propaganda TV, which is why people like 50 Cent and those people always get shows on Fox or wherever. And then you got to look at the Fox TV shows. Somewhere there's a little bit of propaganda going, and almost always. And I hate to say it, I like Avid Elementary, but even it perpetuates some of the stigmas that are in our community. And even though we get the opportunity to have these shows, and some of the things that are really embraced for all of us as a people that are said in the quiet moments should never be said in the outside moments for white people to inspect and tear apart and rip apart, because it becomes propaganda. Yeah, it becomes propaganda, and it gets turned and used against us in a manipulative way. And then you can't get out of the bag, you know? So that's the problem. Then you have everybody like, well, why can't I say it? So for me, yeah, we're in a bad way. Stacey Abrams, I feel like she's lost her spirit too a little bit, her kick.
Yeah.
Do you?
Kind of see a little bit of the spark gone, but I can totally understand. The woman has been working nonstop.
And she should just write books. She's a fabulous writer.
Yes.
And fuck everybody else. Go live your life, Stacey. Yeah, you owe people nothing. And move out of Georgia. Because they're not going to get it. They don't have any respect for themselves, let alone her. I just don't see them voting properly. I mean, for God's sake, they voted in that Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever the hell her name is.
Well, you know, that's
that in itself, and everything else. They don't care, and they don't fight. If they had even a quarter of what's going on in Iran at the moment, they'd be a hell of a lot further. But they don't care. They're okay shuffling and jiving, and the rich ones that are rich there, rich Black people who live in Buckhead, they're okay with it. Mm-hmm. They're actually complacent and okay. Mm-hmm. And the other Black people will never get any further. So, you know, and a couple of like, oh, another shooting. Oh, we get out, we'll march a little bit. And then that's their cycle. But they're going to let, who was the guy who said reparations are only criminals want reparations?
Yes.
You know, they're okay. Black people from the South are used to being insulted and treated like animals. And we can see now that they're okay with it. And they're okay with not making their lives better. So I don't really care that much anymore either. But Aisha's right. It's going to impact all of us.
Yes.
But I don't have any faith in Georgia. I will be surprised.
I don't have any faith in Florida either. There's a black lady running too, and honestly, I can't even remember her name.
Val Demings. I'm not sure she's. I would like to think that she would, but Marco Rubio, because people are, they could barely get through COVID with the changing of masks, let alone changing a politician that they just get used to seeing every day. It's like looking at a judge show on TV that people believe are real judges. It's just ridiculous. American people are not that swift.
Yeah.
So are both of you saying that the Republicans will win both those seats? The Senate
They might.
seat?
I don't see it changing. I don't see enough oomph coming from anybody else. And I don't know. I could be wrong. I would like to be wrong, but I will not be surprised if, seriously, because also you have this problem where there's rich Black people or rich Black Hispanics in these places that they're not trying to get emotional because of the hierarchy in the community, right? They're not going to, they're like, oh, well, we worked really hard to get what we have. Fuck the rest of them who didn't.
Exactly.
So they will go Republican because they are only thinking about their purses. They're not trying to lift anybody up because that no longer exists in our community. Nobody wants to be bound to each other just because of our color. Because we all know, like, well, if you can't swim out there in them waters, then fuck off. This is the new day. If you can't, you better start learning how to swim, as Bob Dylan said in a song. You better start learning how to swim because ain't nobody going to come down and pull you up and help you. This is not Martin Luther King's day of like, we're doing it for, because people look at people who don't have money or haven't made it as people who don't work hard enough or who haven't tried. And that's all colors look at everybody that way now.
Well, when everybody wants to be an influencer and a digital nomad, that then you have a problem with that construct as well.
True. Because it's a certain milieu, sometimes when you live in a really shitty neighborhood, I'm sorry. And you even might say, I'm going to save my money to buy a house. There's some nonsense that you put up with because not everybody has been brought up the same way.
Exactly.
There's the victim mentality that's rife right now in the communities. And I'll tell you, being in a situation like that is enough to make you walk out and go, fuck it, I'm going to vote Republican. The hell with these people. Because, you're trying to make it in your poor community and your car gets broken into, and the people are like feeding on you like fucking bed bugs in your bed. It's like, and that's the problem. And that's why it's a segmentation. It's just in its own order. And you climb out of this hole. Look, I've been broke, but I sure the fuck don't want to be sitting in those and it's a relationship in itself with a neighborhood like that.
Oh, it is.
And it's a mindset.
And
it's all of that.
Out of that, let's face the real look at it. Like if you want to get out of it and you are doing your very best to get out of it, you have our own people being the crabs in the bucket when they're saying, oh, she just thinks she's too good, or he just thinks he's better than us. It's hard to have that balance when you don't have the support, when you have jealous people who don't want to see others succeed and are happy in their miserable mud pool, that it makes it harder for us to even get any further. So, I hear a lot of Republican people saying, pull yourself up by the bootstrap, but hell, give me a strap. Just give me one little strap so I can hold on
but
to it.
I mean, there have been straps for a lot of people. I mean, there is a situation like, not to throw Chicago into it, but Chicago is a problem. But there were two mothers that wanted to really change things, and they both got murdered by the gang violence. So this exists. And when I see Democrats trying to deny it and protect it, that's when they fall flat, because you cannot keep defending people who don't even fucking get out and vote for your ass. Do not use that. Because if I keep seeing, I just want to find the perfect people in the middle who have some decency about them, but who are from the school of hard knocks. The hardest thing for me, when we're talking about Hunter Biden, bringing it back up to that point, was, wow, these white people, and it's not even that. How are people raising their children these days? Tough love. That says a lot about Joe Biden to me. It's like, dude, you need some tough love here. A real good swift kick in the I'm going to see you later. Get a grip. Mm-hmm. So, that is the whole thing for me. And the same with Donald Trump and his kids. Kids would never be. No. That's the funny thing. They'll never be anything like him, ever. They would like to. They'll never have his sharpness. They're kind of like failures at that point. But the reality is, and then Herschel Walker. So he is put into that place, and he's clearly insufficient in his thinking. It's tragic. And he might just win, as Lala was saying. Mm-hmm. He might do it. People don't go to church, but they do watch that stupid football, which I can't stand.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So let's move on with another conversation topic. All right. We've got here, Biden pardons thousands of people convicted of marijuana possession, orders review of federal pot laws. So Aisha has something to say about this. Here we go. She says, all right, here we go. Biden pardons. Good news for people who have federal marijuana possessions, and states should follow suit. I live in a state where there are people in jail for possession of the same amount of marijuana that just became legal this year. I hope my governor does the same. This will help a lot of folks out and also impact the economy. People can get jobs, their convictions prevented from them. You know how businesses are complaining about the worker shortage? She moves on and says, most employers say it's because people don't want to work. There are many reasons people don't want to work, but they also won't admit that they won't hire someone with a record for non-violent crime like marijuana possession. This will reunite families. It is my hope that the states begin to enact legislation, laws, and that people remove the stigma around marijuana. Comments?
I'm thinking it's a great step forward, but we already see the pushback immediately. The Republican states, the red states have already.
They're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. It's plain and simple. But surprise, bitches! You didn't think that they was going to go for that, did you? I mean, because that was just common sense. But we are so long overdue with this topic right here that it's absolutely just sickening to my heart. Someone can go down here tonight to the liquor store, drink them a fifth of gin, and get in the car and murder 5 people. Yes, murder, because you knew that you wasn't supposed to be drinking and driving, and run them over and
be out in 4 years.
Yeah, right, out. Or if that, community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I don't know too many pot smokers that are running down the street. I see them chilling and laid back and burning their candles. I'm not against marijuana at all. I'm sorry. I'm against the hard stuff, cocaine, all that stuff you need to be careful of. But this is barking up the wrong tree. And we've been on this subject way too long as a country. It's time to get over it.
Well, they make money from it. It's privatized jails that they make money. Those are Republicans have investments there. They're not going to let it go. What's really shocking to me, and we should all be taking note of this, is the fact that our country's so broken that they can't come together on one thing that you would go, wow, this would really save us X amount of dollars. This, would stop, whatever drug trafficking is still going on in these areas, because it is still a crime, which means there's still different cartels that are coming and bringing things. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they are basically keeping their crime sectors up because of it. So when they want to complain about, this weed or this or that, or they're actually perpetuating a problem that clearly they're used to, and these red states clearly want to live in, because, like I've always say, life is like Jenga, the legislation. You take something out, then they're all trying to figure out, well, how the hell is are we gonna make some side money?
Well, I mean, let's face it, until the corporations
bag every
get
day.
their claws in it, because the corporations now see that this is a good money maker, and until the corporations say, "Hey, Lindsay, we're making this, and here's some, let's tattoo another sponsorship on you over here," that's when it's going to change. Right now, we're in the shift. Now, let's face it, look at all of the states who have made it legal. They're the ones who are trying to help a lot of their people. California just gave out $1,000 stimulus. Oh, gas too high? We got some money for you. Where you think that money came from? Where do you think it came from? Marijuana. Colorado, there's a blade of grass. Let's build another park for the kids. Yay!
Yeah, it's true.
Let's face it. The ones that have legalized this, they have a surplus. And a lot of the times, I know money's going where it shouldn't go sometimes, but at least they are trying to put some money back.
Oh, yeah, we have definitely some bonuses and surpluses coming. But you're right. I mean, it's really crazy because as soon as they figure out how they're going to cut people out of these dispensaries, because they've been doing it in New York where, they kind of don't want them not to have the felony records because then, because that's the thing out here. You can open one, you can do a dispensary, but you can't be a felon in doing it. That was the caveat in all the states.
Or the money. Remember, you can't put the money in the federal banks. You can't do it. Yeah. So until the feds start going, look at all this money we're missing.
I know. Mm-hmm. So it's still political. It's never as innocent as it seems. But what's really frightening to me is how little the red and the blue states want to get along with the feds. And for that, I think they should be penalized.
Yes.
I think that if they're not agreeing for even just on certain levels, that the amount of money that California gives to Mississippi or whatever, I really do balk at that. Let's keep our money for our state. No more. Fuck them. Let them make their own money. Why does our tax dollars have to go to subsidize these places? I really find that we're called a United States. I'm sorry. The bank is closed. Boom. Loans are over. We don't want to give you any more shit. It's really terrible. Because why? Here we go again. Why do you want to give somebody something who treats you like shit?
Exactly.
A new day. Don't give them our money. So, Newsom might be coming to that point. I think he's been moving in that direction.
He is. And I'm loving his moves. I'm really loving his moves. Now, there are some things that he's done that I don't like, but I always tell people, listen, there is nothing that one politician is ever going to do that I'm going to be like, oh, Hail Mary. It's always one or two things that I'm like, didn't care.
Can I say something? Everybody who complained about him being at the French Laundry because it was too much money, it's booked. It's booked so much in advance, years in advance. Yes. You know why? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has always wanted to go, if they can, with their little money. It's a fabulous restaurant, but it's small. People keep thinking it's fucking IHOP or Applebee's. It isn't. It's really, when he had the dinner, it essentially, his group is the fucking restaurant, essentially.
Right.
60 tables. And the other mother per se in New York has, I think, 8 tables. Come on.
Yeah.
People are so ignorant in this place and illiterate. I can't anymore.
I've got a question to ask. Would Biden announce this if there wasn't a midterm coming?
I think so. I think so. I think he's actually been looking at this for a very long time. And he knows that this also is good for his constituents, but I think that he probably would have done this regardless of midterms or not. Of course,
it doesn't change much for, as Lala said, in the red states, it's not changing them, at all.
He didn't even get the sentence out before they came out and said, we're not. Nope.
It's so true. I know.
When other people would say, interesting, Biden's giving pardons when he was one of the main proponents around the drug, what's the thing? War on drugs. He was everybody
was in it. Hell, my grandmother thought that one of my cousins was going to become a heroin addict because he was smoking marijuana. I mean, there's something to be said for people not really knowing what things were, and there were these afternoon specials, I tell you, that we used to that we would see as kids. They'd have you smoking marijuana, next thing you know, you're a hooker on the fucking street corner. And to a degree, that was what it was like, because that was where the element, it was in its own little element, and then it came out and it became like bubblegum. It's like it was everywhere, and people weren't weird or evil or dark, or some people enjoy it, some people don't. It was never something I was into.
Well, it's always been a power play, period. Anything that had to do with culturally black and brown and black, that was an issue. I mean, and in the days of jazz's heyday, I mean, this was a very common thing. So, they're always going to go after the black and brown.
But then once it became known that it was for cancer patients and great for glaucoma and things like that, actually people changed a lot about it, their conditioning, because so many people who were unlikely but couldn't get any health care here were kind of put in positions where that was all they could have.
That's right.
For pain.
I'll tell you a really good documentary on this, and I watched it more than once just because it's so fascinating. Is Fab Five Freddy's Grass is Greener. And there are a lot of really good information there about how the reports have come out, and they buried it. They buried it because they were like, wait a minute, we didn't say that. So you have a lot of power plays going on this from the very beginning. But it's proven this is not something that is dangerous to us, period.
It's like that with, you're right, because it's like that with all medications or herbs, or you could have thyme in your kitchen and all these things. About 20 years ago, I was working, I had my little stint in the pharmaceutical world for a minute. And the one interesting thing is you have to remember what was important. Everything was patented. And particularly herbs became a big thing, of like someone going in and patenting lavender and botswalia, or all these different herbs, bergamot, for all these different things. So even to the point when you even go into making perfume, or you're making whatever, there's so much red tape involved with even medicine, all of it. So, and a lot of the game was about owning the copyright and the patents on a lot of these herbs, which is why some of the drugs don't get approved for a long time, because India had a whole thing where their herbs were a certain thing. Then there was a lot of sabotage with GMO, where people would go by fields and throw GMO seeds in places so that they would own the field. Or own part of whatever the produce or whatever was coming from it. So there has been a war going on. The crazy thing is that American people didn't really know where it came from. We were so removed from the land, so removed, living in cities and suburbs and little subdivisions. People in Europe had more of an understanding of herbs and or even just life in general. In Canada as well, but not in America. Everything was so cookie cutter, and they just set your life up and told you to go get it. And then here you are, until the internet came. That's why everybody's fiending over the internet. And taking in a lot of misinformation that doesn't make sense, because you go, how the fuck could they believe this stuff? They don't have the foundation to even know how to fertilize a plant. Because, it's fucking weird. Like, you're a country girl. I'm a country girl too. There's just some shit that just makes sense.
That's right. You better bet I had to get my hands dirty just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
I had my own little square in the garden, so I understood where the food came from, how it got there, what needed to happen. We had our own cattle, we had our own chickens.
Right.
And you know what? It was so funny. My husband asked me a very interesting question today, and he said, really think about this. Where would you have wanted to grow up? And I thought about it long and hard. And as much as I wanted out of that as a kid, I said, I don't think I would change that, because I think inherently I love the fact that my hands did get dirty.
Yep.
and that community meant something to me, that we all cared for one another. If a family was sick, we all pitched in. See, this is what's missing from today's society.
Much so.
You don't have that foundation, that strong foundation that we had. Now, of course, it was also people still had their little,
of course, but that's family.
Right. But you still had some type of compassion. And that is what I don't see today. It burns me up to be, and I don't shun people, but it's like, you got a 6-month-old baby you pushing around in the cart at the grocery, and the baby's like this.
I know.
The minute you take the phone away from them, they're screaming. But so what do? Here, just take it. No, this we're raising a bunch of children that have no connection to one another, and everything that's on TV or being fed to them isn't real, but they're basing their life on it.
Right.
We're missing that.
And no human touch. So, yeah.
So this legislation, will it cause a bump for the Democrats in the midterms?
It should cause something, though. I think maybe, but I don't know if many people are going to I did see a lot of young people who were, out there doing things, but, I hope it causes a little bit of a bump, but I believe that American youth are very entitled, and they think that, we deserve this, or this is how it should have always been. And I think they're an ungrateful lot, and don't even get me started. Y'all hear me about Gen Z. You didn't even let me talk about the alpha, the alphas that are 12 years old at the moment.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So, Lala, you don't think it's going to have any sort of bump for the?
I don't, because in a way I kind of see where Jill's coming from, but you're right. There's so many states now that are legal. They feel that they're already entitled to it. So they're like, what is this? This is no different. You old fogies over there, you still arguing, but we're still okay over here. I really don't think this is going to be a big deal.
And I do think that it's the one thing that would be nice if they just started talking about how these people coming back into the system, into the world, it would be amazing.
Yes.
But they've been so demonized. I mean, there's so much they have to learn coming back. I mean, we had some criminal let out here, and he went and killed a whole family the other day. And it's like, so we're a little bit rusty on letting people out, but it's really, really important to, it's kind of like Biden is waving a magic wand over all the wrongs of everything that's gone, like education, people in their school loans, now the people who committed crimes, and because those were crimes at the time. Yeah. And there's still a sector of people who believe well, what the fuck are you going to do for me? I've been living my life right. Yes. I've been doing everything. I've got the IRS breathing down my neck every fucking year because it's just can't afford all your tax to pay everything. What are you going to do for us?
Right.
And that is a legitimate concern. There are people who are like, I've done this, I've done that. I got laid off, or I got sick, and I had to be almost damn near broke in order to get Medi-Cal. Or Medicare. These are real issues. So it kind of is, if I'm a Republican, I'd turn that shit and be like, what are you going to do for these people? Because they're living their life right. They're saving their money. And then all of a sudden, this happens. Meanwhile, of course, the Republicans are part of the reason why these legislation things don't exist. There's no nets for people to fall into, but people literally fall through the cracks here. And we literally have a housing problem where people are homeless and they don't look like they're homeless. They look like they just have an apartment. And then you see them going under a fucking bridge on the freeway to sleep.
Or a car.
Yeah. And so for me, that's what I want to see, because no offense to the people that, are in jail for 20 years because they had drugs, but they committed a crime. Granted, it's not a crime now, but help people right now before they commit crimes, and then they go to jail to try to eat, and then they're in jail. It's fucking wrong. It's like kind of like ass backwards. Help to build these people up. People should not. We should be ashamed that we have this in our country. And in England, I remember, no, in New York, when I was living in New York, somebody in New York had a bright idea to put spikes on all landings of concrete or anything so that homeless people, if you go there, you'll know they can't lay down.
Yes. They can lay down. They
flat
did that in Denver.
And stretch out.
They did that in Denver.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our last conversation topic. And during the last little banter, you used the word culture. Well, there's a gentleman that's taking a lot of culture's time these days. This is a gentleman named Kanye West. And just recently he was at some event in Paris, and he came out wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt. And then on top of it, he recently did a conversation with Tucker Carlson of Fox News. So what we're going to do is, before the ladies, I'll play a video that has highlights from his conversation with Tucker Carlson. Then I'll read what Aisha had to say, and then the two ladies will join in. So let's get Mr. West queued up. Hopefully this will go okay. Let me just... Okay, we got this. Now let's see if it will render okay. So let's see if we can get this to play loud and clear. Here we go.
White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah. We're breaking down all the major bombshells that Kanye West dropped during his Fox News interview with Tucker Carlson. The 45-year-old
we're going to have
rapper sat down for an interview on the October 6th episode of Tucker Carlson Tonight. During the lengthy sit-down, Ye addressed a range of topics, including his ex-wife Kim Kardashian, who he shares 4 kids with. But Kanye starts the conversation by addressing his most recent controversy involving his Yeezy Season 9 show, held during Paris Fashion Week on October 3rd.
So you made reference to the White Lives Matter t-shirt which you brought out at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, and what did it mean?
You know, I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and just brilliance. So the answer to why I wrote White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah.
Later in the interview, Kanye expands on his relationship with the media, even claiming that he was made out to be, quote, stalking his ex Kim for purchasing a home next door.
Because, you know, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children.
Additionally, Kanye explains that he believes people like Kris Jenner's boyfriend, Corey Gamble, and Vogue editor Gabriella Kareem Johnson were, quote, made in a laboratory.
You know, so many things that are put in Kim's head. You know, they bring influencers like, no one ever knows where Corey Gamble came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion. And one of the things that they're really good at doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is, for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated Black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University, or whether it's the most influential white woman on the planet, being my ex-wife, they have people that are around them at all times telling them what to be afraid of. It's like not what to do or say specifically, it's what to be afraid of.
Okay. We got a few minutes of Kanye West. So let me share what Aisha had to say about Mr. Kanye West. So Aisha is saying Kanye West is a clown. Making music took much time away from clowning, so he doesn't really do that anymore. Marriage and father took too much time from clowning, so he got divorced. This is now his only mission in life. Kanye doesn't need his meds or to be hospitalized. He needs his mother. He hasn't been right since she died. I don't say a lot on these things, but I fully agree on that. And the only other, his mother was a brilliant lady. One of the things I would ask is,
was she?
I think, well, this is what I've heard. Let me just say, okay, let me take that back.
I'm just trying to say, how does a brilliant person have a child like that?
But here's my question. What would his mother have to say about him marrying Kim Kardashian? And also,
why does it matter about his dead mom? She's been dead for almost 20 years, right? Everybody talks, let it go. She's dead. He'll never see her again. She's dead. Everybody needs to stop. His mom. I need my mom. Grow the fuck up. That's not the way it works.
I wish I had my mama.
It's like, good God almighty. I can't handle it. Kanye has issues. He's always had them. And what he needs to do is be honest with himself about who he really is. Because I think,
he's mental. And here's my thing. And I'm over people. I'm over his conversation. He's sick. He's been sick. And we're sitting back and watching him destruct. And guess what? People like to watch people deconstruct. You see what happened with Britney Spears before she had her completely meltdown. Everybody, she need help.
Right.
Who are we watching? This is the same thing. Kanye is going to hurt somebody. And when he does, everybody all of a sudden is going to be like, oh, something should have been done. This man is off of his rockers.
Like O.J. Simpson was.
Y'all, I'm telling you, this man is dangerous.
I say the same thing.
You're feeding the animal. You're feeding the pig. You're feeding you're constantly giving him exactly what he wants, only for him to turn around and do what he thinks that he's above, or mentally in his mind that he's above, and he's going to do it. I don't like Kim Kardashian. I don't like a couldn't stand her, but I'm tell you what, they better protect that woman.
I agree. I've said the same thing. And here's the thing. This dude started a school out here, y'all. A school. And there are actual people who send their kids to the school where they go, hello, Donda. There's a video of that too. This is not normal. This is like when nobody was listening to Nicole Brown Simpson when she was saying OJ was assaulting her, beating her up. There were things going on, and everybody was letting OJ just be OJ. And here we are. And it would be very ironic that that energy somehow is always around that family, because let's not mistake it. It is an energy that they seem to lure into their celebrity. It happened once before. Chris was friends with Nicole. Yes. I'm sorry. This is not normal for a man who, I have heard things that I'm not even 100. Does he even really like women? Because he acts like he doesn't. What he does to women and their clothes and their dress and the shifting and the honey, they don't look like women. They look like cartoons or very exaggerated women. There's something not right. And I'm not a doctor. None of us are, but the public needs to stop trying to diagnose this man. Yes. And let this person go and get the help they need. Don't they see other people have distanced themselves from him? They just have. You don't hear,
I've seen things today calling him genius that have made me sick to my
Well, the bar is very low, because it's not genius to get 30 people together and all of them write a song together. That's just called being entrepreneurial. But the reality is there's he gets paid by the GOP every elections time circuit that we're on. Don't people see this? What he did to Ruby Freeman down in Georgia with sending his little PR woman down. Remember that the girl who went and scared that poor old lady basically worked for Kanye. So he's not that innocent. Hanging out with Candace Owens, really?
Or doing the gospel thing. Let's face it, the gospel thing is another way to get it out there that he's supposed to be so good. Now, I'm not God, okay? I ain't trying to be, but I do know some stuff about people. What do you call it? Gaslighting you. You got all these people who's supposed to be so Christian, so Kanye, see, ain't nothing wrong with him. Ain't nothing wrong with him, baby. He's just a Jesus lover. No, there's nothing Jesus loving about him. He's crazy. Put him in hospital.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you've got to also look at the fact that he wants to be Jesus. He's trying to call himself that. That's blasphemous. And any Christian who is a Christian, if you sit and tolerate that, what kind of fucking Christian are you? I mean, I'm not even purporting to be one, but talk about a turnoff. These people pimp Jesus and prostitute him like no man's business.
Exactly.
And that is not coming from God. I will tell you that. That was the sign to let you know. And this is a very dangerous element. But if you notice, water seeks its own level. All of them are all together. They're not really real. I mean, there's nothing real about him.
No.
And also, he's bipolar. Who did we hear from a doctor? His HIPAA law? No, I suspect it's far more serious than bipolar. And we've only heard this diagnosis from him. So this is not bipolar. This is equivalent to my friend who has a brother who told me he saw little Mao Zedong and little Hitler together walking down the street in Brooklyn. That's what this is.
That kind of level. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's very obvious.
And they didn't, and the reason that the drugs become an issue is because if it is what it feels like it is, it kills your sexual life. You have no sex. Those pills they haven't figured out how to make the two go hand in hand. So there's sadly, and there are people who have learned with their therapist how to integrate this and work with it. Just like I have a friend who has Tourette's and they've figured out how to integrate the medications because these medications are suppressants. They're suppressing a lot. And I feel that, that might've been, a problem with maybe their intimacy in their relationship. I mean, they did have a lot of surrogates with their children because you also would have to really rule out, hopefully this doesn't transcend to your children.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact, God forbid. And the other thing is he's so out of it that he isn't even aware the trauma that he is inflicting on his kids. And yeah, you can protect them for only so long, but it's traumatic. And children know when their mom and dads are off.
Yes.
It's very hard. I experienced it on a level that I won't talk about, but I will say, and it's traumatic. It's trauma. So God bless them, and like you're right, they need to be protected.
Yes,
because
they do.
These exhibitions in the old days, a court would have looked at this as something that it would have been supervised visits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is not, we're in a really weird time now where our judicial system is just garbage. But she needs to be, they seriously, every time those kids got in a car with him to go somewhere, I would be fucking, I probably would never. Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is just too out of the box and it's public. And it's not even, there's nobody who, I don't even think his mother could listen to him because unfortunately, this illness only, it doesn't really get better as they get older.
Okay. And Cinema Canella saying that she forgot to see here. Yes, children know when a parent is not right.
Mm-hmm. And what happens is there'll be one who will compensate for them. There's another one who's going to protect the other one. There's so many dynamics.
It's a whole
that come with it. It's fucked up. It's the whole family has to deal with it. And it really, really pisses me off that he can't get the help and that he was on Tucker Carlson exploiting it. He had a friend who he went out and said that, Bernard Arnault, who runs Arnault, who is the owner of Louis Vuitton, murdered. Who was the guy who was the designer at Louis Vuitton? He passed away from cancer a few months back. Young designer, black, up and coming guy. He'd been around for a while. Virgil. So Virgil was the designer for Louis Vuitton, and basically he said that the guy from Louis Vuitton killed him. So all these conspiracy theories, and even the way he was talking in this Tucker Carlson thing, he's planting seeds about Corey and the girl who's the writer for Vogue being made in a lab.
Yes.
These are very dangerous times because we still have those crazy QAnon people who believe shit like that. And this is why I don't think he's that far out of the box, because just being bipolar is no excuse, or schizophrenic. It's no excuse for this. Shut your fucking mouth. And as one of his friends told him, keep so-and-so, keep it out of your mouth. Keep some of these names out of your mouth, because he's going to say the wrong thing one time.
He's definitely going to say
I'm sorry.
Yes. But it's either that or, we're going to watch him burn on his own.
Because you can't take him anywhere. Someone like that, too, even Republicans watching, y'all need to be careful what you expose his ass to, because he's the type that would leverage you, too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
don't, loose lips, honey. He just proved that he just sings like a bird and can't control himself. He's a liability, is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, obviously, the continuing scenario of Kanye and maybe his wife is far from over, and Kanye will continue to keep his saga going on. So I think
she should have become a nurse as opposed to being a fucking attorney. Isn't that what she tried?
Attorney.
I have
a doctor.
I have no idea. We already know what you think about attorneys, right?
Yeah,
so
I know.
We got
I'm
that.
very disappointed.
There you go. Now, before we leave, Jill, you wanted to mention something right quick.
Well, about Iran, I just want to send my love to all the people, the young kids out there, and people who have family and friends, and they're fighting the good fight. And when I was a young girl, it reminds me of, the revolution was in 78, 79, I believe, and then a lot of the young people came here, and I befriended many who came to my school, and I remember that. And but what a transition to go through. But I love that the people I'm not happy that the regime is murdering children and people who want to share their voice and find out about what happened. But the patriarchy is the patriarchy, and it's bullshit. And it's, how I all feel about religion. So it's just a time that we're in. And I just want everybody to encourage everybody to say their prayers for these kids, because they really are showing us something, and they need all the strength of all the angels that will allow to get them through this, and their families.
Yes.
Okay. That is how we're going to close it out.
Oh, and one last thing. If you all have any time, go look and see. William Shatner wrote a story about space and what his time was like when he went up with Jeff Bezos and them to space. And I'll just give you a little, and it's in Variety. I think you can Google it. And he basically was saying that it caused him a lot of grief. It made him incredibly sad. Really? So you should go and read it. Yeah. It's a very poignant and powerful article. And he's 90 years old. So I found that, Captain Kirk, what his advice was and what he said. And yeah, we got to take care of the earth, because like he said, there ain't nothing else out there, y'all.
There you go. There you go.
Ain't nothing.
That's all we got. This is all we got. This is all we got.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jen is saying, great show, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you so much, Jen.
Everybody was so quiet tonight.
I know.
I don't know why. Is it because it's Sunday, family? But usually you're pretty active on a Sunday, but maybe, I don't know.
Aisha's
but I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe they're missing Aisha.
I don't know. They're missing Aisha. They love you. They want you back. We'll back you back. We are going to be back. Should be back this upcoming Saturday, family. So Please. And thanks for those who are watching us live or watching us on the replay or listening to us on replay. As always, we like to say contact information for
Lala.
Yes, Realty Goddess.
You can find me at Realty Goddess on all platforms. That's how I've read it myself since 2006, so you can't miss me.
There you go. You're Google-licious. Love it. Next up, Jill Jones.
On this full moon, if you guys get a chance to look at the moon too, yeah, Jill D. Jones at Twitter and Jill Jones Music Instagram. Excellent.
And you can catch myself on all these platforms. Website, the drvibeshow.com. We also have me email, dr at the drvibeshow.com, YouTube and Facebook, The Dr. Vibe Show, Twitter at drvibeshow, and Twitter, the drvibeshow.com. You can watch replays of this lovely conversation on my LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube platform. Just put in the Dr. Vibe Show replays, or you can go to the website, the drvibeshow.com. As always, I like to end off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We'll see you, all things being right again, upcoming Saturday, and we appreciate you. Oh, one last thing I wanted to put in here too. Let me just make sure I put it up. There we go. Would you like to promote your business or service on our show? Hey, would love you to. Good audience we have here. Very knowledgeable, and they got money. They got money. So you can touch base. Email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Now we're done. So we'll catch you next time. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good.
Thank you.